So let's just go ahead and do some examples. I'm probably going to go through these pretty quickly. A few of them I might take a step back just to remind us what's going on here, but here we've got y is equal to mx plus b, and we want to solve for x. So we go ahead and we look at this and we say, all right, well, here's x. And, if we look at this and we say, all right, well, that's 15 is equal to 2x minus 3. So hopefully you can see how this is related. Again, here's the x. And when we solve this equation, we know exactly what to do. We add 3. We do that to both sides. So we've got 18 is equal to 2x. But the idea is that we have to get rid of any terms that are on the same side as the variable that we're trying to isolate. So we do the same thing here. So we see that we've got plus b, so we subtract b, and we do that to both sides. So that gives us y minus b is equal to mx. Let's go back to our original little example over here, and we know that once we're at this point, we just divide out the coefficient. So x is equal to 9, and we do the exact same thing over here, where we say, all right, we want to get x alone. Remember, we're getting our x alone, so we divide out the coefficient, which in this case is m. If we divide the right side by m, then we have to divide the left side by m. So x is equal to y minus b all over m. Simple as that. So let's go ahead, and this is one of those things where I'm going to suggest again that you put the video on pause and try it, and then go ahead and turn it on when you've done it so you can see how you did. So now we want to get y alone, so we get rid of any terms. So that gives me 5y is equal to 9 minus 3x. Now we want to get y alone, so we divide out the coefficient. So we are left with y is equal to 9 minus 3x all over 5. Now why am I leaving this 9 minus 3x? And always remember that they're not like terms, so I can't combine them, so I simply leave them. All right, let's look at this next one. D is equal to rate times time. And I brought that up before because it is a pretty standard formula. And let's say that we're going to solve this one for r, so we want to get r alone. Well, again, we look at what's going on between r and t. We see it's multiplication, so we divide. If we divide on the right side, we have to do the same thing on the left. T over t is 1, so that's gone. So we're left with d over t is equal to r. And we have solved for r. Now, the next one is similar to one that we've already done. We've seen this many, many times. We want to get w alone. So we get rid of any terms that don't have w in them. So we're going to subtract 2l from both sides. So perimeter minus 2l is equal to, and of course that's gone because that's 0, to 2w. Still looking for the w to be alone, so we divide out the coefficient. So we've got w is equal to p minus, that's a minus 2l all over 2. So nothing hopefully too spectacular here. Let's go ahead and try the next one. The next two are a little bit more complex, but not really that much. If you just remember, we're using the same principles that we've used for any other equation solving problems. There's nothing new. It's just we have to get used to seeing variables there instead of numbers and constants and coefficients and things. So we've got a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. We want to solve for b, so we get rid of anything that is not on the same side. Here's our b. So we subtract a squared. So now we're left with b squared is equal to c squared minus a squared. Well, we want to get b completely alone, and we see that it's squared. The only way to get rid of that is to take the square root. If we take the square root of the left, we have to take the square root of the right. So we're left with b is equal to c squared minus a squared. And, you know, that's one that requires us to think a little bit because of that square, taking the square root of a perfect square. But we do have the skills. Now, this next one we definitely have the skills for. It just looks a little bit different. So this one says h times x plus y. We want to get h alone. So I see that I'm multiplying this, so I divide by that. If I divide on the left, I have to divide on the right. So my x plus y's cancel out. So remember, x plus y over x plus y is 1. All over, excuse me, equal to over x plus y. And we're done. And that's all there is to these guys. So practice the heck out of them. Give me a holler if you have some questions.